Good morning and welcome to Brandenburg News Network. I am Donna Brandenburg. It's the 13th day of December 2024 and welcome to our show today. Last day of the week. This is like crazy how fast this week went for me at any rate. I hope everybody had a great week. This morning we start out at 9 o'clock with Off the Grid with Dr. David Kent, Ralph the IT guy, and Karen the Riveter. And at 10 o'clock we have on the Investigative citizen journalist panel, which I'm not sure Christina's feeling really good this morning, so we'll see who's going to be here. I know Chris is going to be here, so we'll bring them on at 10 o'clock or whenever they join. You know, this is kind of like a nerfy situation here, and it's all good. So good morning, guys. How you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What's happening in David, Karen, and Ralph land?
Haha, it's cold here in Michigan.
Yeah, I had to take a trip out west for a little bit a couple of weeks ago, and it was probably about it was even colder that direction, and that was when it was cold here. I think we got more cold coming this week too, don't we?
Today for certain, it's supposed to cool. It's supposed to warm up a little bit around noon, but then it drops right back down again. I don't know. Let's look at the forecast here a minute.
Oh, I thought it was supposed to be in the 40s all weekend.
It's 11 degrees right now, and then the weekend's going to be in the 30s, but Monday and Tuesday are going to be almost 50 degrees.
Are you kidding me?
High 40s, yeah.
Welcome to Michigan. If you don't like the weather, don't worry about it. It's going to change in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the weather here. We'll be weather bugs this morning. See what it is, because you know what? I don't think I was explaining this to somebody the other day on how weird the weather for Western Michigan is. And what you have on the other side of the state, David, it doesn't even come close to what we have here. Yep, sure enough. Look at this. Here we've got 40s and 50s and such. But we had a decent amount of snow this weekend. Not a terrible amount, but the snow combined with the wind was kind of crazy. So if you were outside, we've had a few whiteout conditions and such. So that's kind of what we have going on.
So you guys have a lot of snow on the west side?
A lot more than what you have.
Just asking.
So when we get snow here, because we have lake effect, everybody hears about lake effect, and we're about 25 miles in. When the weather or the wind comes across Lake Michigan, it's warmer and it picks up moisture, and then it jumps over the land, and it doesn't fall necessarily right on the coast of Lake Michigan. It jumps inland just a little bit, and all of a sudden it goes boom, and it starts dropping. And it's not unusual for us not to see sun for 6 weeks straight or more, because it is literally snowing full time. There's always snow that's coming down.
So now you're not going to be able to see those UFOs they're seeing all over the place.
Pretty much UFOs. This is a UFO free zone here.
Yeah, there's an astronomical observatory, kind of. I think it's over by Lowell. And I don't know how well that actually works. I haven't been over there. I'd love to visit sometime, but I don't know how well that actually works, being in the second cloudiest state in the nation.
That wasn't a very good thought, whoever decided to build it there.
Yeah, or anything solar. Are you out of your freaking mind? It's like, so what are you going to do? Have intermittent, because we've got so many clouds here all year. When I travel and I go out of the state of Michigan, because I'm coming from West Michigan, snow, rain, precipitation, the whole 10 yards. I mean, this is what we have here. Okay. And I'll get around, even if I get around the bottom of Lake Michigan and going towards Chicago or something, it's like, boom, it's like flipping a switch. And how few clouds that we have in precipitation, because we pick it all up. It all gets picked up across the lake and it just dumps on us, which there's a benefit to it. Okay. So in an off the grid situation, we're going to talk about preparation and survival. How'd you like that? That was a nice God-given that because we have all the seasons and we have so much water here, the ability for the land to self-regenerate and through a natural composting cycle with the cold, where it kills everything off, it degrades over winter. The snow is part of that process, and the water and degrading and replenishing the land with natural materials. It's just the way it works. It's better than flooding because we don't get all the minerals washed away, right?
Mhm.
So when you look at the southern states, like say Florida, their soil isn't nearly as good as ours. And that's one of the reasons why we have such a huge amount of fruit crops here. Apples, blueberries, cherries, peaches, everything. We have all kinds of fruits and vegetable type gardens, not the big egg crops. So like if you go out to Iowa has the big ag crops of, say, corn and soybeans and such, because they just don't have the same climate as we have, but the soil is not as good as the soil here.
Well, and I think for anybody familiar with Oregon, as I understand it, I haven't been to Oregon, but we have very similar crops to Oregon and Washington, just because of the amount of precipitation. And so we kind of jostle back and forth between Oregon and Washington with being first or second in the nation for apples and blueberries.
Yes.
Oh, really?
And so even this side of the state, when you go over in the thumb area of Michigan, they do a lot of things like sugar beets and such like that. But you don't see the orchards that you see over here, not in mass. They have some, but on the western coast of Michigan, let's see, I'll try to do it here. This western coast of Michigan here, this is where the majority of apples, cherries, a lot of vineyards in this area here. But if you start here and you go in about 20-25 miles, that's where the big dumps of snow happen in the state. There's no other place like it.
Do you have grapes growing near you, or is that more north?
Yeah, I used to have grapes, but cut those down. But we could grow them again. But the grapes, that's why Michigan, if you go down by Niles and such, there's a lot of vineyards there. Fenn Valley, Tabor Hill, all of them, in fact. And then you go up by Traverse City, there's tons of it there. It's the water content in the ground.
We get a lot of wild grapes too that like to invade the trees. And kind of in a similar way to a certain extent to the way that kudzu grows. They'll just like eat a tree. The wild grapes will.
So now we should talk about kudzu, because kudzu is a very much medicinal plant, and they consider it a parasite plant. But kudzu actually has a lot of uses.
Anybody ever eat arrowroot flower?
Not that I know of.
It's in quite a few things, and that you can make that from kudzu. Kudzu, one of the other names for it is arrowroot.
Oh, interesting.
And they consider it a trash plant.
Go
ahead, Karen.
I had some kind of grape coming up underneath an oak tree this past summer. And I was walking back there and noticed the leaves. Well, my parents used to have a big grape patch that they couldn't manage when they lived in Mecosta County. And it just grew and grew and grew, and they kept cutting it back. And I don't even think they used a lot of the grapes. But anyway, so I recognized the leaf and wondered about it because it was sprawling across the ground. So I took a picture and used a plant ID app that I have, which is very handy. It's not 100%, but it gets me a good start into researching something. And there's 2 different species that can climb trees like this. The one that I had was, and I'd have to go back and look it up again to remember which exactly, but it was a wild grape, and it had not reached the tree yet. So I had to decide whether I wanted to allow it or not. My husband thought it would look kind of cool, but one of them will choke a tree out. It will actually tighten around and prevent it from getting the nutrition it needs to survive, and it will kill a tree. The other one just kind of wraps around. It looks almost the same, but it won't necessarily kill the tree, and some people like it. But I decided that I did not want this wild grape killing my tree or climbing all over it. So I went ahead and pulled it up, and I measured it was like 20, 30 feet long in the root alone. It was pretty shallow, but it was extensive, and it was just so long for one little plant that had just got started.
When they say wild, does that mean it's native to Michigan or it's just running wild?
It's not a domesticated species used for
egg crops.
Yeah,
Yeah, the grapes on them are tiny. It's not like a normal grape. I mean, the leaves look like normal grapes, and I assume you could probably eat them just the way that you could with, domesticated grape leaves.
Disclaimer, look it up to make sure.
Yeah, I haven't tried it, haven't looked it up, so check that first. But
try it, Ralphie. Let's see what happens.
They look exactly like a normal domesticated grape leaf, but the grapes on them, a lot of times they'll only be maybe 1/4 inch, 3/8 of an inch in diameter.
Are there any wild plants in Michigan that can kill you?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that was really cool about this app I got. I just got it this summer, and I was really into my gardening phase of life, I guess, because I had never done this before. I went all around a property. We only have about 2.5 acres, so I didn't even cover all of it. But just around, even close to the house, I had 10, 20 different species easily that I learned can be harvested for food or remedies medicinally, or both, that I didn't know I had. And one of those that Donna and I had talked about was nightshade. I have a nightshade plant, and nightshades are a wide group, so you can even include tomatoes in it, I think. But
tomatoes, potatoes, eggplants.
And we had tomatoes growing everywhere because we give the tomato scraps or old tomatoes to chickens, and I ended up finding plants all over the property that I didn't plant. But because we had the chickens roaming until this year, again, we penned them up. But it was really fascinating to me how many plants I had that could be used that grow wild around here. I've seen them before, haven't paid attention to them, or that I hadn't noticed before. For example, I have tons of soapwort out here. Soapwort can be made into soap. So if things went really sour, you could actually make a sudsy material, soap, out of a plant called soapwort. And it's probably growing all over Michigan, with as much of it was growing wild on my property.
I had soap out of just about any oil. You just mix it with something that's alkaline. Like one of the old soap recipes that I know of was to mix goat fat with lye. And because what happens is the alkaline material basically breaks the lipid chains kind of somewhere in the middle, and that makes the molecule that has one end of it that sticks to water and one end of it that sticks to dirt, basically, and turns it into a soap.
And hydrophobic.
And also the you know how when you get beans, and if you rinse beans, you get all kinds of suds. That is also a natural soap, and that's why it sudses.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
I wonder if they're going to ban if Maha is going to do anything with soap. You ever look at just like a thing of soap, the ingredients? Oh my goodness. Like I'm a doctor and I know a lot of those chemicals. I can't pronounce half of them. It's crazy.
Yeah, you got to wonder what they are and where they come from, and what more importantly, what is the process they use to isolate those compounds? Because the isolation part of it is usually what is even more dangerous. They can't get some of those out of it, so you're eating those compounds that are set to break them apart or isolate them.
That's one of the big problems with the seed oils. because everybody's all on the seed oils are bad for you kick. I don't quite believe that. I think if you've got seed oils that are cold pressed and they're still in a natural state, that's one thing. It's the ones that are industrial produced, where they're extracted with hexane and they add deodorizers and all of that kind of stuff, and a lot of that just doesn't come back out of it afterward.
Hey Jeannie, how you doing?
Sorry to interrupt.
Are you staying with us today?
No, I was just going out to my parents, but Dave was like, "Say hi." And I'm like, okay, well, I didn't want to interrupt or anything, but hi everyone.
It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you always.
Thank you. Thinking about having a Christmas party here, so I'll let you guys know for sure. So, and just so everybody out there knows, we're all friends. So there you go. But yeah, back to your regularly scheduled program here. With,
sorry, Ralph, you were in the middle of something.
Yeah, hexane.
No yeah,
hexane. Ooh, that's very bad.
Yeah, and that's a lot of times what gets used to extract a lot of those oils. Is they'll dissolve them in hexane, or I think it used to be they'd use benzene, but then they figured out that was extremely carcinogenic and nobody wanted to have anything to do with that. So then they used hexane, which is not that much better. But a lot of that, anytime you do a solvent extraction, you're going to get most of the solvent back out of the product. But especially if you're in a hurry and you're trying to get oil bottled before it is able to oxidize and go rancid, you may not quite take as much care as you need to get 100% of that hexane out of there.
Ralph,
the food industry
you're so smart
to do it. So
Ralph is so smart.
No, I just got weird hobbies of looking stuff up.
Well, and the seeds, if everybody changed their diet a little bit more and incorporated seeds in, it's like actually eating like an egg. It's a self-contained unit with all sorts of value in it, the start of life. So like my diet is very heavily in seeds. Oh my gosh, yes. And I'll show you what I eat for breakfast and quite often lunch every day when we get off of here. I'll take a break in just a minute and I'll show you guys that. Because in fact, I'll do it right now. Show you what that is. And then I'm going to go into the censorship thing in a minute, but give me just 1 second, talk amongst yourselves and I'll grab something and show you.
Well, and two, some of those seeds, you look at the oil content that comes out of some of them, and some of them are a little bit higher skewed in omega-6s versus omega-3s. And omega-6s are inflammatory. So like walnut oil, that is fairly high in the omega-6 to omega-3 ratio. But some of the other seeds have fairly high omega-3 to omega-6 ratios. And those are, you get a natural form of that. I don't think it's that bad for you, as long as it hasn't been hexane extracted. If it's a cold pressed oil, that's an entirely different animal.
Agreed. So when I got diagnosed with cancer years ago, I went vegan for 5 years. Best diet I've ever been on. Felt better than I have on anything in my entire life. She says to the carnivore on the carnivore diet. But anyhow, so I mold these. And so I make these little, I just call them my protein pucks. Okay. And the base of it is I start out with peanut butter and honey. So peanut butter and honey, and then I start throwing in all sorts of seeds. So I throw in millet and quinoa, flax, pumpkin seed, sunflower seeds, dried cherries, almonds, and chia seeds and such. But there's other seeds you can throw in there too. You can throw amaranth in it, or teff. You can put the seeds into this and they're just packed. So in the morning, so in the morning, I can give you guys the recipe for it. And then I don't really use recipes because I actually know how to cook. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't just follow recipes. I look at recipes. I'm like, well, that's good, but it would be better if you did it this way, So, but these are what I eat that for breakfast and usually for lunch. They're probably.
What is the base? Honey and flour?
No, there's no flour in this. Peanut butter and honey.
Okay.
And then I start throwing seeds in, and I can give you the ratios of this. I probably start with about a cup and a half to a cup and 3/4 of flour, and then about a third to a half a
Not
cup
flour.
of honey. Peanut butter. There. Yeah. So a 1.5 to 1 3/4 cups of peanut butter. And then I go to about a third of a cup of honey. And then I will put in a half a cup of millet, chia, half a cup of chia, half a cup of quinoa, half a cup of flax, pumpkin seeds. Sometimes I go heavier on the bigger seeds, but those are the ones that it'll make it so you can bind it up a little bit, and form it. And then pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, almonds, and I do dried cherries in it too. And then once it gets to that state, then I've got a little mold and I pack them into that. So you could probably do it with a mini muffin pan, and like a mini muffin, and just flatten it out in there. But I've got silicone molds that I put in. I make a whole bunch of them, and then I put them in the refrigerator. So the strength of all of these things is that they have a very, very long storage shelf life. So let's say,
what would you say?
Well, if I use natural peanut butter, so the oil is all separated in it. So you kind of got to watch how much oil and peanut butter you get in it. Otherwise it won't stick together. But once you play with it a little bit, you see the consistency that works. Mm-hmm. They're probably about 150 calories a piece. I'm gonna estimate it there, and it's pure protein
and oil. Lots of really good oils in there.
Really, really good oils. So like one of the outcomes of having high protein, high oil is that like my hair, it grows like beast level. You want to grow hair, you do oil and protein, right? So I probably grow somewhere around 3/4 of an inch to an inch a month. So I have to have my hair cut at least once a month because I grow hair so fast. But it's because my diet is so good. But think about this. And so the seeds, you're going to have, I mean, I can look it up exactly. Of course I go through them, but your seeds will last, you'll be okay with your seeds for probably, several years.
Right. It's the oil and the peanut butter that'll probably go bad first.
But you can throw that in the freezer too. Just like I freeze butter. If I want to stay ahead on butter, I freeze butter. You can freeze that, and it's going to stay good for a very, very long time.
Do you make butter too?
I have, it's like I've foraged for food for several years. So, I mean, I used to do once in a while a walk out in the woods and say, okay, this is where you can find this. You can make flour out of a flour, not like wheat flour, but you can make a flour out of this. This is really good. Like you can eat cattails. Cattails are, a very nutritious form of food, and you can make flour out of cattails. So, not just acorns and such like that. You can roast them and eat them that way. So there's all these things that we have food all around us. People just don't know, and they will die. People will die if there were ever a grid down situation for lack of knowledge of what's sitting right in front of them.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate, but anyhow, those little protein pucks, you want to lose weight. That's a great way. I mean, honestly, because of my diet, and I'm very disciplined with my diet. I really am. I can go for 3 days without food easily. But and it's a training thing. You train yourself for that sort of thing. But if you ate like 2 of these, one for breakfast and one for lunch, they're pretty filling, actually. You don't really get hungry on them. One for breakfast, one for lunch. Then have a reasonable dinner. You can peel weight off like there's no tomorrow. And you could actually probably sustain yourself on that, because a seed is like an egg. It's a seat of life for a very, very long time. That's what the pioneers and other people used to do. They want to make it through the winter. They sustain themselves on seeds, and because they don't have fresh vegetables, they didn't have any way to store it. So they would do seeds, and they would do that sort of thing. And of course, they have their own meat. And I remember my dad talking about how they would just hang the meat in the barn. You go out there and cut off some that you need, or smoke it. That's another good way for preservation and such. But kind of an interesting thing. But if everybody went out there, let's just say everybody decided to go out there and went to your health food store and got the good stuff out there. You can buy a couple pounds of chia, a couple pounds of flax, and there's different types of flax that you can buy. The golden flax or other type you can get. I think there's 2 or 3 different types of quinoa you can buy that are readily available. The sunflower seeds, because they're bigger, the almonds and the sunflower seeds, almonds, and pumpkin seeds. I have pumpkin seeds in there too, because that's super nutritious. And there's different vitamins in the pumpkin seeds that you can't get in most of the other seeds. They're a little bigger, so they're gonna probably go bad a little quicker.
Mm-hmm.
I've thrown coconut in it, but I like my base little recipe that I made up. So that's the Donna Brandenburg protein puck right there. That's what I call it.
You mentioned too as an option for something else you can throw in there, teff. Teff is awesome. If no one's tried that, you can cook it up just real easy. It's like 3 cups of water to 1 cup of teff, and it's nice high protein, reasonably complete protein in it for something that you can treat culinarily wise as a grain. And it's got a texture, I would say, sort of similar to like maybe malto meal. And it's just slightly sweet. So you can, I don't know, that works great as just like a breakfast food.
You can make hamburger alternative out of that too. So some of these things stick together better than others. So, if you wanted to form it into, say, like a patty, you could literally fry it up and eat it. And, you can do the same thing with walnuts, but walnuts do have a shelf life that they do go bad because of the oils in it, though it's very healthy for you.
And you can also use like teff flour for making like breads or pizzas. And that way you get a bunch of protein in it.
Here's another one. Leb, hi Leb. Also, Leb says that pumpkin seeds are anti-parasitic, and that is true. So, gray-bearded fedora, special blessings. I've started to grow and eat alfalfa, clover, and mustard sprouts to get more nutrition. Yes, sprouting is a wonderful way, and I've done that before. I've showed you the trays and the silicone mats and such to grow it, so you don't have to buy the coconut core or have a dirt type of a base. That does work really, really well.
Sorrel is an interesting one too that grows all over the place around here. The different types of sorrel, there's all kinds of nutrients in sorrel.
You want an egg alternative?
Sure.
If you don't have chickens and things go down, but you want to bake and use something in a baking capacity that will stick, that will stick together and hold your food together, it's ground chia seeds. So if you have ground chia and you do 1 tablespoon, I think the ratio, I'll get it wrong if I don't look at it right now, but I believe let me look it up real quick. 1 tablespoon of chia flour to 2 tablespoons of water. And
it's real easy to grow and propagate chia yourself. All you have to do is go to the store and get they make these terracotta things in various character shapes and animal shapes.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna go there. We're just gonna go there, aren't you?
Chia pets.
Hey, you know what? Give that gift to somebody for Christmas, and you give them a survival tip right there.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, the kind of funny thing is that if you soak chia, you get kind of like I would say it's probably akin to like the mucilage that you get on certain other foods, where it's like a gel, and you can use that
for egg.
Yeah, that's why the chia, the ground chia seeds work as a binder, is because it does form kind of a gel.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get the exact measurements here. I'm just looking it up, but that's what I use is like 2 to 1. And that works pretty well. So 1 egg is 1 tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of chia. Well, let's see what this person says about it. Oh, here's a good represent. Now this is not a ground chia. This is whole, but you can kind of see it here. You see, it looks kind of like that.
Yeah, they swell up and form kind of a gel.
Yeah. Very, very healthy for you too. So let's see. You can use it in
Now you
dressing.
got the stupid commercial song in my head. Thanks, Ralph.
So they're saying 1 tablespoon of chia to 3 tablespoons of water, and I probably do 2 to 2.5 water. I've never done 3. That seems I think it'd be a little bit watery, but if you did here use as in recipes as a 1-to-1 substitute for eggs. So if you do a recipe like this, only I would do 1 to 2.5 of water, not 3. That's going to be too watery. And so, and you want it to bind. You don't want to add enough moisture in there, more moisture that it doesn't bind what you have and waters it down too much. So there you go.
Chia.
Okay, so this is a funny thing because one of my kids years ago wanted a chia pet for Christmas. And I'm like, after seeing the commercials for a while, I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I went in the store and I actually bought a chia pet and I put other things on top of it. I'm like, I am not going to be seen by a chia pet in the store. And it was actually, it ended up becoming a very funny thing, but I think they're kind of funny.
Yeah. Right up there with pet rocks.
Right.
That's what I was going to say.
I'm go get yourself some chia and spread it on a terracotta pot or something, something like that. And you'll spend like, $1.50 or something like that instead of the $20 chia pets. I don't know. There you go. And now we're into cost saving things. So I want to show you this. So I was looking at for the censorship, which Twitter censored or TikTok censored.
Segue.
We're going to go right here. So my segue. So here's Donna Brandenburg for governor. I decided to spin this thing up. This was today's one that I did right before the show. And you can't see what they actually did to my actual account. But I will be more than happy to show you because I'm a little annoyed with any type of censorship whatsoever. It's wrong. So if you're going to be a platform, you'll let her rip, and it is what it is. So I have a real problem with this. But if you go to my actual admin account, here we go. This is what you can see on here. I'm going to pull this up here a minute before so you can all see this. So this is what is right. See right there. That's the video they took down. And so you can't see that. Anybody out there cannot see what they actually did to the account. And once in a while it shows up, I've got no followers, but or that sort of thing when I think they're having an issue. Whereas when you go over here, yeah, the videos actually do have, and I don't have a lot of views on it because I just started this up and I've been playing with it to see what actually will work and what works, what doesn't work, that sort of thing. So there you go. I just decided I was going to start out doing an announcement on that. Then I use the videos and then I take the videos and I go to X and Telegram with it so people can see it. So
I just have to take a moment and say, look how far you've come from the first time you were standing in the barn trying to record a video.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up because it was painful. And now, I just kind of get up there and I'm like, okay, I'm a little weird, little whatever, but I keep going. Okay. And that's the key to fighting for anything is you refuse to quit no matter what difficulties or barriers that you come up against. Just keep going. You're going to get better at it. It's not that anybody is particularly better than anybody else. It's the fact that when people are successful in anything, it's because they refuse to quit. That's all it is. So I started looking at this morning, well, what do you do if they take TikTok down? Because they've got until I think January 18th or 19th, which is funny because it's right before the election.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that, how close that is to the election. And why was that the agreed upon date?
The inauguration.
TikTok. What?
The inauguration.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, that's the answer. I mean, I knew I was it being,
facetious.
facetious about that. It's because the next day is the inauguration. So we can say there is something going on there. We might not know what's going on, but there's definitely something going on there. So I decided, well, what happens if they take TikTok down in the United States? What other alternatives are there in case Elon Musk doesn't jump in or somebody else and fix it? In fact, I'm going to look into this because this may be something that, Donna Brandenburg, the non-billionaire who doesn't have billions of dollars, but figures shit out. Okay, that's what I do, is I just try to figure shit out. That's how it works. See if we can get something together. Hopefully everybody stops acting like baby birds, hoping everybody else drops worms into their mouth and so they can sit there and just be pandered to. But if everybody actually joined together, we could make this a reality. Okay, if we could actually figure out how to keep TikTok up, because it's got to be bought by somebody in the United States. That's what's going to have to happen. So Donna Brandenburg, the non-billionaire who doesn't have the money to buy that outright, which I wish I did, because I think I would consider it. We need to get together and we need to do something like that. Or I thought, are there alternatives? So this is the first step in looking for alternatives. So I found this article, and here are 10 alternatives to TikTok. However, Instagram is part of Facebook. Facebook, Instagram, they all censor. YouTube absolutely censors. So none of these are free speech platforms. Then I found Shingari, which I'm going to look this one up. So it's an India-based app that's growing quickly. However, it's creator friendly, and then it also has a small global audience. But I want you to think about this. They popped up an alternative to TikTok, just like there have become alternatives to YouTube, such as Brandenburg News Network and Rumble and Odyssey and all of these centralized platforms. However, some of them are more protective of free speech than others, like Brandenburg News Network. Okay, so here we go. We've got Thriller, which is for music, Dub Smash for lip syncing, Byte, successor to Vine, Lemotive, which is for music videos and songs and such, and Snapchat Spotlight. So it's already built into Snapchat. And I guess my thought is that we need to go to something like this, especially to get those audiences and give them the material that's actually educating people, because they're trying through the censorship to keep us stupid so they can kill us all. So here you go. Fireworks or unalive us all. There you go. In case somebody decides to censor me.
Oh, you're censored.
Yes. Oh, blew that all to hell. So here's Fireworks. Is designed for short, high quality videos with a twist. It has a reveal mode, which lets viewers change between vertical and horizontal viewing. I think that's kind of cool. Perfect for storytelling. I'm going to look into all these things, because I'm going to try every single platform that's out there in order to decentralize the Brandenburg News Network message to get to the most amount of people, because they've got it so fragmented. It was just like the 2022 election. They're going to fragment the heck out of this to keep people in the dark. Lemon 8, lifestyle app, photos, focuses on fashion, food, and travel, and then says, you can go ahead and, this is a nerd publication, which you're going to find out about nerd things. You got to go to nerd publications. And gamers. See, gaming is there, and internet. So this is a techie platform. So I'm going to try some of these other options that are alternatives to TikTok, because we don't even know if it's going to survive past January 18th or 19th. Things are going to change after that inauguration, and we need to be prepared for that and have other options.
Why are they going to ban TikTok, or why are they forcing it to be owned by a U.S. company or person?
Because it's a China-based company, and let me.
Isn't it funny though? Like like they try so hard to get Chinese corporations into everything in our country, but when it comes to free speech, no, we must keep China out.
That's right. That's right. There you go. Well, let's take a look. News for it. Here is an AP link talking about the TikTok bid to overturn possible U.S. ban.
Oh, speaking of China getting into everything, have you guys seen the where they finally admitted that China has been using the U.S. government mandated wiretap capabilities in all of the phone systems, text message systems, and parts of the internet? That China has somehow achieved access to those, because of course, if you build a back door into anything, it's going to be perfectly secure and no one will ever access it that's not supposed to, right? So yeah, they finally just admitted that China pretty much has access to all of our phone calls and text messages, and they don't really know how to get them out of it.
So it said that the government acted solely to protect that freedom from foreign adversary nation and to limit that adversary's ability to gather data on people in the United States. So that's what they're saying, which,
you know, that reminds me of something that Gage said yesterday, Richard Gage. And I've been promoting those with a share on Telegram because his presentations are so good. They're so full of information. And I get to a point when I'm watching them like, okay, I almost want to stop and take a break and come back to it the next day because there's so much and it can be overwhelming because it seems negative. But then he comes back with enough positivity that I'm like, okay, I can't wait to see what he's going to talk about the next time. One of the things he talked about was that the government will reveal truth from time to time, but they time it so that it's like, oh, okay, well, they just admitted, for example, that COVID came from, or COVID didn't do what it was supposed to do. The vaccine didn't do what it was supposed to do, as an example. Well, yeah, we already knew that, but it was coming from the people first. It was coming from people who were really ticked off about that being a fact. And all of a sudden the government puts out and the media that there was research proving the truth that we already know. And it's supposed to put us to sleep, you know, to dull in our senses and say, oh, well, the government's admitted it. Now everything's okay. We don't have to mistrust them anymore. Maybe they didn't know. You know, you think we're stupid? Like, because they reveal truths to us well after the fact of the conspiracy theory discussions, that we're supposed to just go, oh, well, it's okay.
So Gray Bearded Fedora, that's Eric, says, here are some decentralized open source alternatives. Take note, guys, here, especially Ralphie there, our resident tech nerd. Pixelfied, Proxy Talk, Vidsy, Goldfish Social. So there are alternatives that are going to pop up here if they go away and such. And I really don't think, you know, if you've got somebody that is in control of what can be said and they're censoring, which they are, they really probably should be taken into account on what they're doing, because they're a propaganda machine is what they are. Here's another one. Thank you, Sir Ralph. U.S. officials race to understand, the full scope of the China-linked hack of major U.S. broadband providers. Federal authorities and cybersecurity investigators are probing the breaches of Verizon Communications, AT&T, and Lumen Technologies. Lumen Technologies is Bill Gates. And isn't it coincidental that Tudor Dixon had Lumen Learning? This is, whenever you see that name, they're all tied in. Tudor Dixon had Lumen Learning. I looked up the registration that, you know, the Republicans decided to put up there as a candidate, and she had Lumen Learning, and there's a pattern there. Every one of them claim it's a $5 million business. That's her stuff, for a 10-minute video that was going into schools. Are you kidding me? It's not possible. So at any rate, A stealthy hacking group known as Salt Typhoon, tied to Chinese intelligence, is believed to be responsible. The companies may have allowed hackers access information from systems the federal government uses for court-authorized network wiretapping results. They're absolutely doing that, and they also open source, or they had the ability to take that. They're hacking, and they hacked our nuclear codes. I can tell you that. I've had enough people tell me that.
That I don't think is as much of a threat as people think it was, considering our nuclear codes for 40 years were just 8 zeros.
Well, when the thing that bothers me about it is the lies that they have promoted to manipulate the American people.
I think that, one of the things about security is that they always portray things as being super advanced, super secure, the likes of which mere mortals can never even understand. But a lot of this stuff, you get in and actually look at how it's implemented, and it's really not, a lot of stuff like that is not near as complicated as what they try and portray it as. They try and make everybody feel good that all of this stuff is secure, that phones are secure, that text messages are secure, emails are secure, the nuclear codes are secure. Nothing's ever 100% secure.
No. So here you go.
And the wiretapping system that they've had, for, boy, I think they introduced that in like the 60s or 70s, the wiretapping system for phones.
I don't understand why do they do this, Ralph? Like, what do they want to listen to our phone calls for? And text messages.
To manage us. They want to manage us like the same way. If somebody gets too far out of line, why do you it's like, what happens? Well, we all have seen the Arkansas. They get information on people to compromise them.
And if people know the truth, they're already a threat because of how many of these people have been doing the wrong things for decades, for centuries, for millennia. And so people start learning the truth. Well, they're a danger.
Yeah. So the Chinese hackers, who the United States believes are linked to Beijing's Ministry of State Security, have burrowed inside private wiretapping and surveillance system that American telecom companies built for the exclusive use of the United States federal law enforcement agencies. And the U.S. government believes they likely continue to have access to the system. The U.S. government and the telecom companies that are dealing with the breach have said very little publicly, and since it was first detected in August, leaving the public to rely on detail trickling out through the leaks. The so-called law access system breached by Salt Typhoon hackers was established by telecom carriers after the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001. So let's just go back and talk about, the Patriot Act and all the traitors that signed that, including Pete Hoekstra. The so-called lawful access breach. Let me go on here a minute. To allow the federal law enforcement officials to execute legal warrants for records of Americans' phone activity or to wiretap them in real time, depending on the warrant. Many of these cases are authorized under the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, FISA, which is used to investigate foreign spying that involves contact with U.S. citizens. The system is also used for wiretaps relating to domestic crimes. It is unknown whether hackers were able to access records about classified wiretapping operations, which could compromise federal criminal investigations and U.S. intelligence operations around the world, multiple officials said.
So the latest that I've seen on this is that they've found that mostly this has been used to listen in on senior government officials within the U.S. government.
Well, they're probably all doing the wrong thing. So
this reminds me of the Ericsson incident that happened, a decade or two ago in Europe.
Yeah, not liking the fact that it's China that's been listening into all of the stuff.
Well, and on top of that too, text messages are terribly insecure. Like if you send a picture message or a video message by text, that's probably one of the least secure things that I can think of that you could do with a phone. Depending on the protocol, you can, in some cases, those are not even really encrypted, and you can just pick them up over the air as they're transmitted. It is technically illegal to do so, but it is also very possible for just about anybody to break the law on that using equipment you can buy for almost nothing. So text messages are really, you kind of have to treat text messages like you're out in a public place and yelling them to somebody else. They're really not private.
China-linked spies may still be lurking in U.S. telecommunications network, but the breach could be much wider. In fact, a couple dozen countries were hit by the attack. The Wall Street Journal reported this week, citing a top U.S. national security advisor. Chinese government hackers have compromised telecom infrastructure across the globe as a massive espionage campaign. Speaking during a press conference Wednesday, Ann Neuberger, President Biden, fake President Biden's Deputy National Security Advisor for Cyber and Emerging Technologies, said the so-called Salt Tycoon campaign is ongoing and that at least 8 telecommunications firms in the United States have been breached. The journal previously identified Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, and Lumen Technologies, Bill Gates, and Tudor Dixon. Hey, wonder how that's going. Among other victims, metadata grabs appear to be regional in focus and were likely a means to identify phone lines of valuable senior government officials, which the hackers then targeted to steal encrypted text messages and listen in on phone calls. The official said President-elect Donald Trump, the rightful president of the United States, Vice President-elect J.D. Vance, senior congressional staffers, and an array of U.S. security officials, which I know Kash Patel was part of this hack, that he was hacked, were among scores of individuals to have their calls and texts directly targeted in intelligence collection coup that likely ensnared their private communications with thousands of Americans, the journal has reported. Yeah, I know Kash Patel was part of this and many staffers. This is not going to end well when the rightful president of the United States, President Donald J. Trump, takes the reins and tells them exactly how it's going to be.
Yeah, and that's even just using the wiretapping system that the U.S. government mandates be included by phone providers. Yeah. There's another system that phone providers use to talk to each other and negotiate like roaming and such, called SS7.
Linus Tech Tips.
That one is you don't even really need advanced hacking capabilities to breach SS7. There's a video on that that
ta-da.
Yep, that shows exactly how that works. It's got kind of an intro that's like, I don't know.
Phone network
the beginning of that is just kind of about how the phone system works and how it was built. But they actually go through and show they use SS7 to hack somebody's phone that they had permission to do, but they show exactly how this works.
Let's take a look at that.
That's pretty messed up, Derek. I slept easier not knowing that.
We intercepted his phone calls and stole his 2-factor passcodes. Is that your number, Linus?
Yeah, but mine didn't even ring.
We didn't touch his phone. We didn't send him an email or a text. Nothing. We did it all remotely. And the worst part is, it could happen to you.
I think I'm really surprised that, no offense, but like you guys did it. Well, you're not a career criminal hacker mastermind necessarily.
No, indeed.
But here it is, a little looking and feeling device with no, obvious problem with it, and you just received my call instead of me receiving it. Just what, like on command? It's an app on your computer or what? I don't even know.
But before we explain how we did all that, the first startup that Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak made wasn't Apple. No, they were tackling a different problem, one where their product was actually illegal. So back in the 19th...
We're going to stop just a second so I don't get a YouTube strike on this, because you know what's going to happen because they're not free speech, and our copyright laws suck.
And also, if for some reason you cannot access this, if it gets censored or taken down or something like that, which I don't expect. Veritasium is a pretty big channel, but Veritasium also publishes on Odyssey.
Veritasium does? Okay. Good. I think that we need to think about that because we actually have an Odyssey channel now. So good for everybody to know. Good to know. Decentralized. Oh, another thing. I used to have several blogs, and I wanted to discuss this. You guys don't know this, but I was thinking this morning that what would be really good to do is I'm going to start one of my older blogs up again, and I'm going to start posting on that because I didn't ever advertise it, and I was getting like over, I don't know, 60,000 people a week were going to that blog. And I didn't advertise it. I just did it for family, myself, family, friends. I would aggregate all sorts of news and such. But I think we need to do this. And then in my morning little chat, then I'm going to go through that with people so that they can see that. Thought that would be a good way to go. What do you guys think? Would that be cool?
Great.
Sounds like a great plan.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what it is right now. It's still up. You can look at the old stuff I wrote. I have warhorseintel.com. So here
Phone calls were really expensive. Adjusted for inflation, a call from New York to London could run you $25 a minute. So these two entrepreneurs created a little blue box. And what it did was it hacked the telephone network. They could trick the telephone company into connecting the calls for free, among other things.
We were young, and what we learned was that we could build something ourselves that could control billions of dollars worth of infrastructure in the world.
Okay, this is really interesting because I'm going to make a comment on this. I will put this up. I'm going to put this up, but look at this. The people that are involved and we think are for real, guess what, guys? I'm going to tell you right now, they have absolutely put themselves in a position to go to jail or cooperate. Think about that. They did something that was very illegal. This stealing. So then
It
what?
sounds kind of like the phone version of cable stealing from your neighbor, but on
Well,
a grander scale.
yeah, it kind of goes a lot further than that because they could actually fully take control of both of like call routing and also call places that shouldn't have been able to be called. They really did kind of, from what I remember of that and there's a modern phone system that's named after that system, and then there's also a modern hacking magazine that's named after another method of hacking the phone systems that also kind of came from a Captain Crunch toy. The history of hacking is weird.
Well, fill us in with some of these names here, Ralph. You can't just like throw us a bone like that and then all of a sudden let it go.
Well, they mentioned Blue Box there, and Blue Box. There's a modern piece of software that's kind of named in honor of that has nothing to do with that, but just kind of named in honor of it as a history of phones thing. And then the magazine is 2600 hertz. That was one of the signaling frequencies that they used to use in the phone system for indicating when a payphone had gotten a coin deposited. And turns out this exact frequency was put out by a whistle that was included as a toy in Captain Crunch boxes. So you could get one of these Captain Crunch whistles and pick up the handset of a payphone, whistle into it using the Captain Crunch whistle, and make a call pretty much wherever you wanted for free.
Well, that's great.
There was a lot of very creative work done in the hacking scene back in like the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
So yeah, not necessarily,
I'm worried about you right now, Ralph. I'm worried about you right now.
Not necessarily the most ethical or legal ways of doing things. However, it was interesting.
Yeah. So Ralph, we're all worried about you right now, but I hope that you're okay.
He never surprises me with the vast wealth of knowledge he has.
Yeah.
Yeah, useless knowledge that nobody actually needs to know that stuff anymore. But
it's not useless.
So yeah, a lot of the early computer hacking stuff really kind of grew out of the phone hacking scene because it had people that had kind of a similar mindset of, I want to learn how this works, and I want to learn how this works well enough to get me access that I don't have. And a lot of it was not about damaging things so much as just figuring it out. And that's really okay. So this comes back to a conversation I had with somebody earlier this week. There's a concept in security called security through obscurity, and it is the worst form of security that you can have. And that is where the only reason why something is secure is because people don't know how it works. And so the only way to keep it secure is to make sure that nobody ever finds out how it works. That is one of the worst ways of securing something, and is by a lot of people, including myself, not considered to be an actual security measure. It can help with protecting things that are secured by much better means, but you should never really protect something solely by just somebody doesn't know what's there. And unfortunately, that's kind of how a lot of the earlier phone system stuff worked, is because it was wide open once people figured out how it worked. And the same was true for a lot of early computer stuff.
We're going to go to, I want to bring this up a minute. Let me see if I can add this to the screen. And I want to show you guys what I should figure out how to play. I don't know if I can play that video. Oh, I've got it on my computer, the one that they banned me from. You want to see what the one that TikTok banned me?
That'd be cool.
Yeah, so I would like to ask everybody, please go to my TikTok channel, and we're going to try to continue to utilize this and see what happens here. But I'm just going to ask everybody to go there. I'm going to show you what I did. Let's see if they'll let me play it here this morning.
Good morning. This is Donna Brandenburg with Brandenburg News Network. And I was looking into the issue of censorship because TT decided to censor one of my videos yesterday, which there was no violations or guidelines whatsoever. So I think we need to talk about this just a little bit, censorship and free speech, because I am a firm believer in letting people say whatever it is they want to say, whether we agree with them or not. We need to defend their rights. So this morning, we're going to be on Brandenburg News Network, and we're starting out with Off the Grid, Dr. David Kent, Ralph the IT guy, and Karen the Riveter. At 10 o'clock, we will be on with our investigative citizens journalist panel. This is a group of people that are fairly uncontrollable when it comes to telling the truth, which is what I like. That's why we became friends in the first place. So I want to ask you to, or invite you to join us this morning. And also, please go to my Twitter account, which is the X account, as well as my Telegram account, which is at Brandenburg, the number 4MI. There's a bunch of imposters out there, so you have to put in the right handle. So this morning, I was also looking up something, and I found a really good article. I will post it to both my Telegram account as well as my X account, and it's from a publication called Gear Fuse, and they put out an article on 10 apps that look like TT in 2025, and there are alternatives to continue on looking for things that do uphold free speech. Now, we don't know what's going to happen right now to TikTok with them talking about maybe perhaps being a change or being banned in the United States in January, which is kind of unfortunate. I'm kind of hoping maybe Elon Musk will step in and try to salvage it, and then all of a sudden maybe the censorship will be gone.
So there you go.
Good morning. This is Donna Brandenburg with Brandenburg News Network.
I'm looking at Christina behind
censorship because
I'm looking at Christina behind the scenes there, and she's laughing her tail off. So I'm going to bring in Melissa, and I see where Christina went, because Christina was absolutely hilariously laughing.
Oh, because you said censorship, and they probably had an algorithm that picked that up, and they said, you can't talk about TikTok censoring here.
Yeah, we'll have to see if they give me a strike on that. They gave me a warning on it, and I was like, I hate to say it, I was like, screw you. You know, it's like, let's see if they ban me, then I'll have something to sue them over. I think that's not a bad plan. I'm going to show you. In fact, I'll show you the video, the exact video. Let's see. I'm going to show you the exact video that they decided to, in fact, because I've got it on my hard drive here, and it's saved in other places, just so everybody knows, because I never,
Well,
you know.
I started looking.
Okay.
You're like out there trying to save people. Who in their
Okay,
right
hang on a
mind
minute.
would say, no, you can't help?
Let's see
The
if I can-
government would, but I mean, you know what I mean?
Well, that's my point. Is like
Let me see if I can bring this
it
up.
was
where
a private property.
Christina, come back. Where are you? She'll be laughing her tail off. Hang on a minute.
So another security thing too, that I don't know how many people know how this works, but you know the little lock icons you get with websites when you go to them? Those are to indicate that your connection between you and the web server is encrypted. And we touched on that in a previous episode a while back about the whole ISRG security chain with Let's Encrypt and all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, there's like hundreds of different places that are set up and are trusted by your computer to be able to impersonate any website you go to. And the only thing keeping them from constantly doing that is pretty much just a gentleman's agreement handshake policy.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and play this a minute. So this is what TikTok decided was a good idea to give me a warning for. Now you tell me if there's anything that's objectionable in this.
Oh, I thought that's
Started
cool.
looking.
You're like out there trying to save people. Who in their right mind would say, no, you can't help? The government would, but I mean, you know what I mean?
Well, that's my point. Is like if it was a private property owner, how is it now that tax dollars are being spent to put up a gate to protect private property? How is that? So you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. If you put up a gate to block private property, I want to know why our tax dollars are being spent for that. If in fact it was a public road and we didn't encroach on any private property, I want to know why FEMA paid for the gates, and that's a big lie. Is they tried to say this had nothing to do with FEMA, this had nothing to do with anybody but private property owners. And in a November 19th Chimney Rock Council meeting, Town Administrator Stephen Duncan, quote, I was really excited to hear that FEMA would pay for gates and security. So FEMA has money to allocate to Chimney Rock to pay for gates to block private property? I'm not understanding. And if it isn't private property, FEMA has money to pay for gates and security, but not to help the recovery process. They're damned regardless. And that's why they're trying so desperately hard to assassinate my character, because they know I've got them dead to rights.
They want to shut you up, don't they? Big time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, I'm not a perfect person, so they're going to dragnet my entire life and try to make me look unappealing as possible. But judge a tree by its fruits. Here's the interesting thing. But
You know,
I started
and
looking.
if you're like out there trying to save people, who in their right mind would say, no, you can't help? The government would, but I mean, you know what I mean?
There you go.
Well, that's my point. Is like if it
This went on too. So I mean that's the point. That's what they censored me on.
I just looked it up and it said banned words, some Reddit thing, Gates. Like they think you're talking about Bill Gates.
Oh, is that what it was?
I think so.
You know what? I could upload that again and see if it's got Gates in it. Maybe I won't poke the bear on that one. But you know what I mean? It's like, here, I'll show you the.
What you should do is do a video about livestock and something about gates for your livestock pens.
Ooh, that would work, wouldn't it? Maybe.
There's your test, because it has nothing to. Yeah.
So when you're on the ground here for a long enough.
Okay, here we go. We're gonna just blow through these a minute because I think this is actually pretty darn funny. It's like, because if you're willing to look for other options and not just get stuck in something, you can literally jump over and around any hurdle that they put in your way. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's go back and find out what David James, who is, see what it says.
So when you're on the ground here for a long enough time and you're forming personal relationships with these people, you're restoring their properties, you're grading their roads, and you see the tears in their eyes when they tell you we had 10 bodies out on the river and we couldn't get anyone to come take them, and our house filled up with black flies. Another gentleman I met yesterday, I actually did a story on his daughter, how she passed away, unfortunately, and how she, I try to humanize the victims so we realize these were people with families and dreams and everything. And so my point I'm trying to make, if you stay here long enough, you'll realize there is no way in hell that it's only 100 or 200 people. The dead are in the thousands. If I had to say a conservative number, it's at least 3,000 people dead. There's no doubt in my mind, and I'm willing to die on that hill, because they're finding body parts. So when you're on the ground here for a long enough time and you're forming personal relationships with these people.
Now, so David was on BNN. So the whole episode or the whole show that he was on is already on BNN. But the point being is that, why would I don't know. That's good to know that that's the word Gates in there. That's interesting.
Yeah. I thought maybe it was FEMA.
We don't know. It could also be Christina told me that David James is completely censored off of TikTok.
Oh.
Which is weird to me. She was on here laughing. I saw her backstage. I don't know where she went. I'm going to give my girl a call here. Talk amongst yourselves, please.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought maybe it was a FEMA censorship. Can't talk bad about FEMA.
Of course not. I mean, because FEMA is just like the almighty, according to this administration or our government in general. It's horrible.
So you just unmuted while Donna's trying to call you.
Oh, she's not trying to call me. She's trying to call Christina, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see what would happen with livestock gates. See what happens there.
So I've been talking to a couple people this morning up in Tennessee, and I'm finding that I have several family graves up in that area. And so I'm trying to see if there's a way to work with historical preservation to maybe get access and work on getting grant funding in some of that area. But on what was it, David? He was talking about composting, or somebody was talking about the composting. And, this is a point that I've seen today. There was a post on the Washington County, Tennessee Ag Extension. It looks like the Ag Extension offices through the universities are launching programs for the farmers and soil conservation and stuff. And I don't think a lot of people know about those, but they're opening applications up today. So that's something that, we may need to try to get out and make people aware of.
That's cool.
Those are only going to be out so long. And I did see that FEMA's involved in that, which kind of makes it a little sketch to me, but we'll see what happens.
I don't know too how much effort is being done anymore to support the bacterial biome in a lot of the ground, because that's hugely important, and that's one of the big problems that you've got with a lot of the big pesticide sprays is that a lot of those, the pesticide, the fungicide sprays, all of that kind of stuff, it's killing our unaliving our little friends that keep the dirt in good shape.
Yeah, and that was one point on this composting, the aerobic compost program that somebody was talking about. If it's done right, then they can spray, the compost tea or the compost extract onto the land, and it'll start eating up a lot of this stuff.
Nice. Yeah, that's something that I've seen a lot of stuff on that about the big industrial farming. That's one of the big problems that we have with the big industrial farming, and why our food has gotten so nutrient poor, is because we're making sure to sanitize the ground during crop growth as well as then after crop growth to make sure that no other crops grow, nothing else is alive in the soil. And we need those little guys to help clean things up and create new nutrients. Like vitamin B12 is pretty much only produced by bacteria. So you want vitamin B12 in your diet? A lot of people say you can get that from animal sources and such, but it doesn't come from animal sources. It's just passing up the food chain at that point. It still has to come from the bacteria somewhere.
Yeah.
Spirulina has a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yep. Well, and spirulina is it's a cyanobacteria, so it's somewhere kind of between a bacterial culture and an algae. And so because of that, it's got the photosynthetic capabilities of an algae where it can still photosynthesize, but it produces vitamin B12 like a bacteria. That's a really cool nutritional supplement, is spirulina.
Right. And here's a side note that y'all might want to know. This is relevant to me being in Texas and, the Alamo. So a lady I spoke to in Johnson or in Kingsport, Tennessee this morning that Christina connected me with. So the Davy Crockett cabin and the Davy Crockett National Forest is gone. Only the chimney remains.
Oh.
Wow.
King of the wild frontier.
And now then somebody told me that now, people are trying to change history and rewrite history with the Alamo. That's a whole other topic though, but yeah. So Davy Crockett's cabin is gone.
Yeah, that's exceptionally important to do all that historical preservation, because they keep trying to rewrite history on things, and those people who are dedicated to keeping the old artifacts around, be it books, papers, historical objects, any of that kind of stuff, that is exceptionally important, especially as much as we're going to digital everything anymore, that the archival of things and the preservation of things is invaluable.
So much stuff is in museums, then hidden in the basements, from the Vatican to Smithsonian and all these state museums, and they hide it all, and you can't even get access to most of it.
Yeah. At what point is all that stuff finally revealed? I mean, they have just, this is where, I don't agree with the left, but they do, a lot of them have had the point, that, with this whole deal on the government stealing and this and that. I mean, they've stolen our history and flipped it around. I mean, what they're doing now is nothing novel. It's nothing new. They've been lying and twisting the truth since the get-go.
Yep. And even a lot of the stuff that is being preserved that is old, I think a lot of that was even fabricated when it was new.
Right.
I mean, you look at the amount of propaganda that's put out after every war, and history is written by the victors.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's been going on pretty much as long as history's been around. So a lot of that history, you also have to question, what would the other side have said in that case, and see if that opinion actually existed or if that got erased.
It makes it hard to recover. I mean, look at how hard people are working on BNN network, for example, to recover and reveal the truth to the public. And when you don't have a beginning point, it's really hard to move forward into the future. There's Second Kings, when they discovered the law of the Lord, and what did they do? They read it, And they read it in front of all the people, and they rent their clothes because they were so distraught that they had not known what they were doing wrong. And they agreed as a people to turn around. When you don't have your starting point and realize how far you've come from the truth, it's really hard to come out of that and do what you need to do to recover. So even just looking at the Constitution, is the Constitution the original Constitution? Are the amendments the original amendments? The Bill of Rights? Was the 14th ratified? You know, I was told that the 14th was never properly ratified, and it's been a process ongoing for years. Is that true? I don't even know if that's true. And how can we recover that information? It takes some brilliant people like I see here to determine those things, and then we can start to dig our way out. It takes a long time, a lot of process.
Hey guys, here's the Odyssey channel for Brandenburg News Network, just so you know. And good morning, Chris.
Hey, good morning.
So there you go.
Karen the Riveter's on there, by the way.
Hi, Karen.
Well, hello.
There we go. Look at all of us except for Melissa are in that one.
My first episode with Donna Brandenburg is on Odyssey. I watched it back, and it was really interesting because we were having problems with my audio, and she finally went to the phone. We were like, we're not stopping.
Yeah, there it was, actually.
What was that?
It was up a little higher. Right at the top of the screen there.
This guy right there.
Everything we talk about is still relevant.
Sure is. You know, all of them, it's kind of more or less, when I look at it, it's we kind of document things by having so many people on telling their perspective from their vantage point. You end up documenting a lot. And I think that's going to be worth the long interviews. You know, a lot of people they don't like it because some people don't like it because it's too long of interviews and such. It's like, well, tune out then, I guess. And I'll started doing some clips. But within that, we literally are documenting almost in a way that probably would stand up in court some things that have happened, not only what the counts are of this, but actual live footage that we can prove is not been manipulated.
And how things stayed the same or changed, you know, because in that episode I talk about assembly, and I talked about it in more general terms, even though I was an MGJA member. I'm no longer a member, and I don't believe in the organization. But so there were a lot of episodes where I was really pushing it because I believed in it at the time. So what changed? You know, somebody was watching along, they might ask that question. That's the truth of what happened at the time. I'm not erasing that, and no, neither are you. It's you don't censor the truth of what was going on at the time in all of your episodes. And how did you grow, and what did you learn throughout the process? It's all there. It's all documented. Yeah. I remember talking to you about that in one point. I'm like, you know, this is really history. You're documenting history using BNN because it's very consistent that way.
Yeah.
That's a powerful thing.
Sure is. You know, just the fact that we're regular, everyday people, real news for real people, by real people at the kitchen table, sitting here and telling what we've seen and what we know. It's important. It's not curated. I mean, you guys know I never tell anybody what they can or can't say. We don't talk a lot beforehand, except for, did you get your coffee this morning, and how much snow you got on the ground? That sort of thing. Or in Chris's case, you know, how many lizards you got crawling on your fence this morning? You know, that kind of stuff. So what else is happening? What's happening in Chris' world today? What's on your mind?
Does he have lizards crawling on his gates?
Yeah. Man, we got censored by TikTok there. So
I got lizards.
Well, you're in the South, so the South has like lizards and crap. We have no lizards. All we have is like snow and, you know, and that sort of thing.
Yes. Geckos.
Yeah, we have no lizards here.
Yup. I guess they don't. They can't survive that cold air. Yeah,
Actually, we have salamanders.
you guys get snowflakes as big as softballs.
Yeah, it is big. Yeah, we
No,
have
wait.
salamanders, but you know, to your point, but it's not like the lizards they have there. They're like, honest to God, they've got like lizards that look like little dinosaurs or something, you know.
Supposedly we have
lizard.
skinks.
Yes,
Yeah, I've never seen one out in the wild, but supposedly we do have them.
I've seen them here at my house.
But they're not
They're all over
geckos.
the
Geckos
place.
are cool.
Yes, they are. They are indeed. Wow. So you know, I read this. I saw this. I don't know if I should talk about this yet. I think I should wait. I gotta wait. Yeah, I gotta wait. So politics is really crazy right now, isn't it?
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
We're all going to need therapy after this nonsense. I'm going to tell you what, that we're going to be in a barn therapy group where we're going to just sit around to try to be normal again, right?
I know the attacks are unbelievable, and the things they're doing to children and the rest of us is satanic. You know, my wife came up to me the other day and she wanted a divorce. I'm like, what do you want a divorce for? She says she wanted a sex change. I said, a sex change? You mean like Caitlyn Jenner? She goes, no, I just want to change who I'm having sex with.
You're funny, except you're not married, Chris.
I know. I know. I was creating a joke for.
That's a good joke.
For listen to Karen.
And all the dads are just out there in hysterics. So what else is going on? Melissa, what's going on? What else is going
on? Trying to get confirmation on a lot. Then of course last night, this whole drone thing going on is blowing my mind. And we had reports of one going down in New Jersey, and I got on the police scanner for Morris County, New Jersey last night, and you could hear them, that, you know, the reports coming in on it. So I'm going to kind of look more into that today. I don't know what's going on with that. I was curious if anybody had any insights.
Do you have a good website for? Do you have a good website for listening to scanners in other parts of the country?
Yeah, so let me find. This was open. I think it's called Open MHZ. Let me find it real quick. Open MHZ. Yeah, so I went to openmhz.com, and then I went to obviously New Jersey, Morris County. And where this was being talked about last night was on a Police Dispatch 6 channel. And this started coming out about 10 o'clock, 10:02:55 Eastern is where you can hear it. And I think Christina has a lot on it. I did a clip last night of them talking about the drone went down in somebody's backyard and then 10 more showed up.
Where what do you do? Put in this. I just pulled it up.
Look, so go up to the hard to see here. Okay, go to listen. Okay, that first one, the trending, the Morris County. You see that one's trending. And just hit listen. Now, you'll want to scroll all the way down to last night at 10:02:55 for Police Dispatch 6. You can also filter it down. If you could find the filter up there on the left, go to Police Dispatch 6. And then down.
We have a program. Well, if you want to sign us to Tip and Flex.
See if I can.
All right, appreciate it. So
the left side of the screen filter.
You can join us.
Say that again.
So up on the top left, that filter button.
Yeah.
Go to that one and go to talk groups. And see if you can select Police Dispatch 6. So that'll filter out all the rest of the Okay, now scroll down to last night at, I believe it was, your time would be 10:02 at 55 seconds. But you can also tell like where everybody has all these flags and they have.
That's cool that you can access the history because usually it's just live.
So
am I going in the right direction here?
You're probably going to be way down at the bottom because it was last night.
Okay.
Hey, Ralph.
Yeah.
There's also Police Scanner Pro.
Okay, cool.
I use that one.
Yeah, I'm less familiar with the more specific
keep going
services
down.
for police and fire.
Right there.
There's a few of them on there where you can listen to like ham radio ones, and that's more what I'm familiar with.
What do I click on here?
Just try clicking on it and see what happens. The line itself.
County for 85. What was the exact call that this wasn't actually saw it crash or heard it crash? For the caller, a drone fell out of the sky by the power lines behind their house. And then 10 more showed up.
Whoa.
What was the actual address of the call? 1329 Sussex. Checkers are on 32 cars. 11085 are good. We're in the woods. Cruising. OEM 1's going to be on scene for the drone. 93. You with DPW? It's firm. All clear. Yeah, hold on a sec. We're walking up to you. County 32-144 stopping you. Good. It's going to be 10 East of Franklin, just in Denville with Lima, Papa November 6777. Sorry, Toyota, New York. Appreciate it. County 32-144 clear. Appreciate it. County 32-144 stopping.
Wow, that's amazing.
Good. Looks like it's going to be a PA-10 tag. It's going to be Zulu, Kilo, Romeo, 3681. It's going to be a 410 Mercedes, black.
That's amazing.
That's a really cool tool.
If you look at the number of likes on each one, that's how I've been filtering through. Like the ones that have the most likes, I've been kind of listening to those, which I need to get caught up from last night.
Okay, so why did the likes just disappear when you said that?
I don't know. It did that to me last night.
That's weird. Did it do it to you last night?
Yeah.
All right, that's really super weird.
Yours is 13 Lawrence Road, correct? 19. 32-111.
Wow, that's crazy. And why did my like buttons disappear? Did I hit something? That's weird.
I don't know. But yeah, so that's where everybody is at today that's following the drones. You can see, I mean, how many listeners they've had in the last probably 12 hours.
Wow.
What city is that in?
Morris County. That's New Jersey, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dang, and you can actually download it too.
Wow.
Oh, that's very cool.
So yeah, so any other place that we're hearing this stuff, you know, we could jump on there and listen to the other states, because I think they've been talking about this in Utah, California, and other states as well, but not one going down.
Wow. Trying to figure out. I'm going to go back on that 255. Oh, here's the like buttons right here. Maybe they don't. Maybe that's maybe they don't have any likes. Let me add those because they're too new. So I'm going to click on this one again.
County for 85. What was the exact call that this wasn't actually saw it crash or heard it crash? For the caller, a drone fell out of the sky by the power lines behind their house. And then 10 more showed up.
Dang.
What was the actual address of the call? 1329 Sussex. Checkers are on 32 cars. 11085 are good. We're in the woods. Cruising. OEM 1's going to be on scene for the drone. 93. You with DPW? Confirm. All clear. Yeah, hold on, son. I'm walking up to you. County 321.4, stopping here. Yes. 310 Easton Franklin, just in a Denville with Lima, Papa November 6777. Toyota, New York. Appreciate it. County 32144, clear. Appreciate it. County 32144, stopping at contact. Good. Looks like it's going to be that PA 10 tag. It's going to be Zulu, Kilo Romeo, 3681. It's going to be a 410 Mercedes. Black. It's going to be a parking lot of the McDonald's.
Notice the number there, David?
I see it.
All right, that's wild.
Chatting from 124. I chatted you up, and can you just run that 29, please? She'll be out of New York.
Great.
Very interesting.
So somebody said at 11/19/07, somebody responded on mine that said at 11/19/07 they said all clear, unfounded, but I haven't listened to that yet. Somebody else said no, it said all clear. They never said unfounded.
I gotta shut that down.
Well, what does everybody think this is? Like the Chinese balloons?
You know, I keep having a memory coming back. In 2013, I was a whistleblower. I contacted a special agent at the DOC because I was working at a avionics company here in Texas.
Hey, Christina.
And I reported that there were Garmin GPS units that were specifically for North America that were being transshipped without an ITAR license, and they were bypassing the trigger in the data fields to the Pakistan military. And that keeps coming to mind, you know, where were these GPS units going and why at that time? But now it's kind of, I'm wondering if that has something to do with it. If, you know, these parts have been shipped over for something like this to, you know, enemy nations at some point. But, you know, that's just one theory.
It's not just in the United States, though. Iran has been shooting these things down for 2 weeks. And I have a video of it over Cincinnati on the 3rd of December. Did you go over the high prophecy yet, Melissa?
No.
Okay, so Charles High did a prophecy that said so many days after a current event that happened, that these aliens would go to war in our sky. And supposedly the Joe Rogan and Donald Trump podcast was the event. So the day was supposed to be December 3rd that they would fight each other. And that's the day I seen it over Cincinnati. And then multiple days after that is when they started talking about New Jersey. Melissa, what you say, so someone told me as far as the Morris County Dispatch that the actual some kind of website or something went down after this was determined. They didn't say unfounded. They said all clear. But then I seen some transpondent that the CIA was coming in to look at some of this stuff. I'm getting ready to leave Cincinnati, and I'm going to go up there today. Well, I won't be there till tomorrow, but I'm going to go up there, investigate today. And people are saying it's Project Bluebeam. There's no way it's Project Bluebeam because I physically seen these things with my own eyes. And not only did I see it, I caught on to it about a mile from my house, and it was going northwest, like towards Indiana. I made an eastbound turn. Within 30 seconds of me pulling into my driveway, this thing had crossed over miles. It changed from it stopped in midair and changed from westbound to eastbound and flew directly over me. So I felt the propulsion, the wind. So there's no way. I mean, Project Bluebeam, sure, it can create images in the sky, but it cannot create wind. It can't. I mean, do we have a machine that's creating the wind now underneath it?
How big is this drone, Christina?
It's big. It's big. I would say SUVs. I think they're right. They're accurate. It's about the size of an SUV, and
We
it
had a
makes
Predator.
noise.
We had a Predator drone fly over right before the Rick Grinnell event here.
And you can't. It's not being picked up on. These drones are not picked up on our radar system.
They're all
at all.
plastic.
It's not. So, but you can hear it. It makes a sound. It's like wah 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 like that. Melissa, do you got that video?
Let me see.
Did you video it, Christina?
I did video it. I was freaking out.
Let's see it.
Yeah, we got to do that.
Hold on, Melissa. If you don't got it, let me know. I'll text it to you so it's on the top.
Yeah, text it to me.
Hold on 1 second, guys.
Yeah, we're going to put this up. We're going to do this thing because that's what we do on Brandenburg News Network, the only free speech platform.
Now, the other thing is there's videos, there's allegations. I'm not going to say this is true, but there's other videos that are up showing that there were projectiles coming out of one of these last night in New Jersey.
Yeah, I sent you that video, Miss Donna, already that I made, that it shot down another drone. So then the lady called in and said that 10 more drones were there. So obviously they picked up whatever was shot down. They're not going to leave that out there. Let me find this for you guys. It's only a few seconds, but you know how many photos I take a day.
There's also allegations of counter-narrative intelligence that a friend of mine was telling me about Project Bluebeam, that it is actually to put it in layman's terms, to get you off of the fact that what you're seeing is real. To be put up there like, oh, it's just a picture in the sky. It's not really real. It's and it's the information was put out there for people to find.
Well,
So
I know what came over me was real.
it probably was. It
Speak for
probably
anybody
was.
else.
It probably was. But I'm saying that did you understand what I meant by the counterintelligence, the counter narrative?
What do you mean? No, I don't understand.
Okay, so these agencies will put out information for basically all of us to find, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're the truth seekers, right?
Right.
Whoever they may be, including us. But they'll put information out there to divert you from the truth.
Yep.
So like they'll put out there that, for example, that it's just a picture in the sky. You're not really seeing what you're seeing.
Oh, I see.
They put out that stuff first before they put out what they're putting out, like the drones or what have you, whatever they may be, right? It's sort of like to set in your mind already that, oh, that's probably Project Bluebeam is probably not real.
Preceding the narrative.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, somebody made a good point last night. Like, our government wants us to believe that they can view a rock 300 million miles away on Mars, but they don't know what the heck these are.
Right, exactly my point. That's right. They can put a man on the moon, supposedly, but they can't find Hillary's 300,000 emails. It's just totally ridiculous, you know. It's mind-boggling how stupid they think we are.
So the video did you get it to her, Melissa?
I sent it to Donna's text.
Okay, so that video is, I'm 11 miles from downtown Cincinnati. So my house is in the turnaround zone for Cincinnati Airport, CVG. So every day, all day long, I watch aircrafts turn around. So I know how fast they go. I know how low they come to the ground. So you're not going to ever tell me that was an airplane, because how low this thing was to the ground, an airplane would have been towering over multiple houses at that time.
Melissa, can you put this in a private chat? I tried to get it up there and it's taking too long.
Let me see.
So I wonder if you're in an area where you're in the pattern for the airport, I wonder if these are so low so that it makes me wonder if where all of these places are, if any of them have come into like a Class Bravo airspace, or if they're flying so low that they don't.
They're flying low. Let me see if I can screen share. They're definitely flying super low.
Because it would be real interesting to see if somehow they're actively avoiding Class Bravo airspace. Because if they are, then somebody, whoever's operating them, is trying to operate them without breaking FAA rules, which would be a real interesting data point.
I'm going to pull these up on my laptop and just show you guys from my laptop.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time getting that thing to pass into from from a text to where I can put it up online.
They're very interesting to see. So let me just pull it up on my iCloud and on my laptop. So we'll just do that.
Or Melissa, if you can put it into the private chat, I can pull it up from there. It just doesn't want to come through.
I don't have the ability to put it into the private chat. Let me go to my documents. So I don't think a lot of people realize that this isn't just happening in the United States. They're seeing like large mother crafts like all over the place. And the thing I am interested is there's a story that said that 50 of these drones came up out of the Atlantic Ocean and they followed a Coast Guard. So if you guys remember, after April 8th, there was a large anomaly that was detected on our seismic detectors in the Atlantic Ocean right next to Africa. And this thing made 80-foot waves. Okay. And it was questioned. So they tried to say it was an anomaly, something happened, but then it happened a few days later. I think if we have things that are living on this earth, they would be in the ocean. I don't know how they would do that, but when you're talking about something that it may not be human, I'm sure that we don't have a realm at all of what is actually going on. We don't have any accuracy. The government has hid this for us for 70 years already. So now they're coming out and saying they don't know what it is. I just can't buy that. I just can't buy that. Let me get
it's under investigation.
Oh yeah, clearly.
Jim Jordan's going to write them a very strongly worded email.
Wow.
We have somebody in the BNN live chat that is reporting that they saw something similar in November in Michigan.
Yeah, so they're all over the place.
I would like to comment on that, but due to the fact that it's in investigations right now, I can't say anything about it. I know how frustrating it is to you, but I will get back to you on that.
You sound like a Biden press conference.
Thank you. Sounds like Christopher Wray.
Hang on, guys. Check this out. This is wild.
He is spraying the sky again. Bro, this is fucking crazy, man. Look at this guy. They're spraying the skies. Look, he just sprayed that. This guy. This guy just sprayed that. Look at this motherfucker. Look at him spraying. Look at that. Look at that. He is spraying the sky again. Bro, this is fucking crazy, man. Look at this guy.
Interesting.
And bro, what timing?
Yeah, there you go. I don't like the guy's voice.
Yeah.
Sounds a little scripted.
I just sent that to you, Donna. See if you can pull it up from directly from me.
Excuse me. I've got the oh, this is something. What's wrong with this? There we go. I don't know if we can. I'll give it my best shot. How's that? Star Wars stuff.
That was my sound effect, in case anybody wondered. That wasn't in the video.
Well, it is now.
Well, you know, we could go and make that sound ourselves by just taking something and whacking a guy wire on a pole.
I wonder how many like UFO enthusiasts are up on the top of the mountains with their tinfoil hats on right now.
Oh yeah, they're probably still there.
I can use. Well, why am I here twice? What's going on?
I don't know. I'm looking at this going, okay, we got 2 Christinas here.
Okay. I'm gonna play this for you guys on my husband's phone.
Okay.
That'll work. Let me just find it. So I just sent it to him.
Amazing how they had the phone up in the sky, just with their camera on.
That dude was on a live.
Probably just star searching, you know.
No, that's not how that happened. That's not how it happened.
Oh.
That dude was on a TikTok live. He is what's called he is some kind of alien investigator, and he goes out there every night and does lives. So by chance he caught that, and then TikTok shut him down, like immediately shut it down.
Why?
Because
He didn't say
TikTok is
dates, did
crazy.
he?
So let me get this video.
Boy, that would create a definite. I'm not gonna say anything.
Always interesting. There's always something interesting going on for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, life is definitely not boring anymore.
Okay, you guys ready?
Lev says that they're messing with our feet again, and then also probably testing what they're going to use on us. That's very possible.
All right, I'm going to turn on my camera. Hold on 1 second. Let me get this large on his screen.
They do a lot of test marketing.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that I was thinking of watching, whoever is doing it, it's not exactly as if they're hiding. If they've been doing it, they're not hiding it now.
Right.
Well, yeah.
What does that say about the story?
Hold on, can you guys see this?
Kind of, sort of, up. Okay, try it.
Okay, yep.
Can see more reflection off your screen than I can see off of that.
I'm gonna post it to X on my profile real quick, and then I'll take it down. But just that might be the easiest way to get it up.
What was that
now.
sound?
That's the sound it makes.
Oh.
Oh, that's the drone sound?
Mm-hmm. The fuck? Just, oops, sorry.
And that's what you caught.
Yep.
Dang.
And then I compared it to the images from New Jersey and the other images that they had. And it looks 99.9% the same. But they're not talking about it being over Cincinnati. No one is talking about that. And I haven't put it into any type of media. I take that back. People in Cincinnati are talking about it. But they're not adding it to, no one has caught on to that video yet. So it's not being picked up from Cincinnati by the news. And I just haven't decided to turn it in. But a lot of my friends, when it started coming, well, because when I originally posted on TikTok, very few minutes after I seen it, everyone told me I was dumb. But then when it started to come out on Fox News and the Congress thing, everyone's like, oh my God, you was right. And I'm like, well, I don't tend to put misinformation on my freaking platform. So now, people from TikTok have contacted me, and I've sent the video to several people. Because I think it needs to be analyzed at best.
See if I can get it up a different way here.
It's crazy that.
If you've got technology like this, you could hide it. You know, like the old Star Trek cloaking device concept, or by some other fashion. So, who is doing it, and why are they revealing themselves to the public in this fashion in those particular locations? If it's a narrative and it's meant to fearmonger the American people or the globe, if it's happening across the globe, then what is the purpose? Is it going to, are we going to reach a climax about January 19th?
See, it's everywhere, though. People.
Miss Donna, I sent a link to in the chat. I posted that video to my ex. So
yeah, I've got it right here. So let's go ahead and play this. So this is Christina, the drone that Christina saw.
I love the video how it's got the sound.
Yeah, that's not me.
Worlds. It's War of the Worlds.
Yeah, so that thing was going westbound.
Literally my daughter last night, when I showed her all this stuff, she's like, whoa, wasn't this all in a Tom Cruise movie?
So that was the drone that Christina saw and taped. That's a wild
another video of when I originally caught on to it, and it was going westbound. And it was so low to the trees, but I was driving trying to catch it. And then I pulled into my parking spot, or my garage, and it was turned around and was coming eastbound, right over top of me.
That's wild.
Donna, did yours make a sound?
I actually was in my car, and two other people were starting to freak out. And by the time I got out there to really see it, it was already gone.
But I went back and looked at the flight patterns for that time of the video, and that thing was not on any radar system. And that's what they're saying in New Jersey and stuff, is it's not on a radar system. But these things, some people are saying they materialize. There was a officer that was up in his helicopter, and one of these drones was below him. And they're saying that once, and he aborted because it scared the shit out of him. But they're saying that they're trying to follow these, and then they go dark. So they're able to become visible and then invisible when our fighter jets are going after them.
I'd be interested to see what would happen if you looked at them with a thermal camera.
I'm taking one with me to New Jersey. They're being spotted all over New Jersey.
Or maybe get a close-up of it.
Yeah.
Real close-up.
Someone has one, and it looks like a cross.
They seem to show these things from a far distance, but they never do a real close-up.
Right. Well, I wasn't getting any closer, Chris.
Well, here's some information. I just asked, I said, what type of drones do not show up on radar systems? So one would be stealth drones, like the military drone, the RQ-170 Sentinel. Says they're designed to minimize radar cross-section. They have angular shapes and smooth surfaces to deflect radar waves away from the source. The smaller low drones, which we know they're not small, so I'm going to avoid that one. The low altitude flying drones can do terrain masking and ground clutter. And then there's counter radar technology, ECM, that can jam or deceive radar systems by emitting counter signals.
Right, they have a tail on them that does that.
What do we think that noise is, though? Because I've never heard no airplane make that noise.
That probably has to do with the materials they're made of. I would think that I'm thinking some type of metal.
But you could feel it coming down.
Christina, don't you know all UAPs and UFOs make those kinds of noises?
No, I don't.
Of course you do.
Were you near an airport?
I am about 40 miles away from the airport.
Well, we all know that they make those sounds, don't you know, Chris? Because we had the Jetsons.
Well, my favorite Martian was on there too. The Jetsons. That sounds exactly like the Jetsons.
But you can feel the wind, and it doesn't come like, it comes like that.
Like a pulse.
Okay.
Like a pulse. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
it does have a pulsing sound. I was going to say when Ralph comes back, I'm really interested in what he comes up with because he's pretty good at analyzing things auditorially. But I also want to know about the light pattern. Why would an extraterrestrial use green, red, and white lights on the underside of their craft so we can easily figure it out? And is that a typical pattern of lighting for any other aircraft?
I'm not
Donna.
sure about that, but I do know that all of the other the drones that they are catching has the same light pattern.
That's the pattern that.
Wow.
That's from the Jetsons.
Oh my God.
That is a pretty similar light pattern to what you see on planes and helicopters and stuff.
Maybe that's why they're doing it, because it is similar.
Yeah.
So the aliens are trying to go with our laws.
Pretty much any. Well, that's one of the reasons why I'd be real interested to see if these things are actively avoiding Class Bravo airspace.
They're supposed right now. They're being caught over our military sites, nuclear sites, and I question why they would be over Cincinnati. But we have GE. We have shitty, but we make a lot of products for aircrafts in Cincinnati and GE, or they used to when my ex-husband's dad worked there. I'm not sure what they do now, but GE would be the only reason other than our Cincinnati airport, which isn't actually in Cincinnati. It's in Covington, or it's in Kentucky. I think it's Hebron, maybe. Yeah.
So if you look at the way that a pattern of lights usually is on a plane, you've got the red and green lights that are out on the wingtips.
Mm-hmm.
And then you usually have a flashing light that'll be on the tail. And then if they're coming in for a landing, then they'll have a bright light on the front up by the nose that you can see, toward the ground.
Now there is two airports within eastbound of my house. One is Blue Ash Airport, which you can't land large aircraft there. And then you have Lunken Airport, which you could if you needed to land a large aircraft, but that's mainly for private jets and that sort of thing. That's for small aircrafts. And Lunken is about 40 miles to the east, whereas CVG is roughly about 40 miles to the south. But there's and then you have about 50 miles to the north, which is our Dayton airport. And then the next airport you have that could handle large aircrafts to the west would be Indianapolis. But there is some smaller airports because I'm very close to the Indiana borderline, Indiana and Kentucky borderline. Cincinnati sits right there in the very south west of Ohio. There's smaller aircrafts to the east, but I'm waiting for more information. I do believe that this is some kind of drone. Whether or not it's nefarious, I'm not sure. But that thing was very low to the ground. The other video that I have, you can see it directly above the trees. And when I originally seen it, I was like shocked. I didn't know, because it wasn't an airplane. Any commercial airplane that low to the ground is going to be tearing up shit with its what are they, turbine engines or something? I'm not really sure what kind of engines they have.
Yeah.
But they have a large amount of force that comes with it. That was no airplane.
So you're prop wash, from propellers or for the propulsion systems. There's always a heavy amount of air that comes in opposite reaction of the lift, right?
I'm going to propose something.
If it got that low.
Here's a thought. This is happening, right before President Trump and his team start. And I've always thought the wall was not just to keep people out, but to keep people in. And we remember the old mass arrests. Let's stop them from leaving the country. Well, we got the wall. Let's stop the aircraft. You know, just the fact that this is all over the internet and YouTube and everything that censors everything. They want us to see it. Well, this is a great excuse to ground air transportation.
Air traffic.
We don't know what it is, so no one can fly. And then these people are stuck in the United States, these criminals and politician criminals and stuff, so they can do all these mass arrests and they can't get away.
Speaking of the wall, have you seen where they've been selling off chunks of the border wall for like less than scrap prices, I think?
Pennies on the dollar. They've been doing that since Biden got into the administration. That started in 2021.
Right.
Yeah, all the materials that were laying out there, they started selling for scrap prices. I mean, you're talking about billions of dollars in materials.
Well, they needed it in Ukraine, you know.
Well, have you guys heard about Clay Higgins' new, since we're talking about Ukraine, I don't know if Melissa went over this. It's HR 10218. Clay Higgins is trying to put in a bill to stop us from being able to use our long-range missiles from Ukraine into Russia.
Good.
Who was that guy?
That was on a previous video.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm about to post that bill on X, and I'll share that. So stand by.
So we're supposed to try to get everyone to start calling our congressmen and women to try to get them to support this bill. I mean, I think it's valid. I think that what Joe Biden has done in these very last months of his administration, first of all, it's not Joe Biden. We're not dumb. That man doesn't even know what he ate for breakfast, let alone authorize long-range missiles into Russia. And it was funny because I just had a phone call with Jim Degree, and he was talking about just the implications of what Joe Biden has done in these last couple months. It's almost treasonous. It's like he's deliberately trying to start a war with Russia, and we all see it for what it is. But
okay, just to be clear, it's not almost treasonous. It is treasonous.
Yeah, it's treason.
That's his middle name.
Don't matter how you shake it out. You are not operating with what is in the best interest of the American people. And if the American people don't see that, then they're blind or deaf or dumb.
Only the Congress can declare war. And what he's done by waging an undeclared war, but it's a war, is treason. Very
so it's kind of, doesn't it seem kind of silly then that you have a bill about one aspect of a war that shouldn't exist in the first place? If these legislators really wanted to do something proper, they would force him, they'd impeach him, first of all, charge him with treason. They would investigate the whole thing and stop the war. That's the one thing that they're supposed to do, is protect the American people.
I don't know that I agree with impeaching Joe Biden just because of who is next in line, but he's almost out of time anyways.
Yeah.
But I do think that I don't think they'll ever charge Joe Biden with anything. And the reason I don't think that is because he's not coherently there. So he would plead mental defect, and then they would use that report that he's not there, and it would just be a shit show of excuses. And then by the time it ever got into a court of law, that dude would be dead.
The American public need the truth.
Hey, you know what? He may just be an actor too. We just don't really know, because there's enough bait out there that they've been baiting people into action that we just don't know. But Stratcom's administration, Buchanan spills the beans. U.S. is preparing for nuclear war. Use HR 10218 to pull U.S. ADCOMs back from Ukraine now. It is urgent that the American people mobilize to urge Congress to immediately enact HR 10218 to prohibit the transfer of Army tactical missile systems to Ukraine and for other purposes.
Yeah, what else is in the bill?
It's a very short bill.
Sounds with Joe Biden, getting back to Biden, sounds to me like plausible deniability or plausible dementia.
Yeah. Whatever it is, it's plausible, and that dude's not even going to be around long enough to sit on whatever charges he would get. And it's not just that. I mean, people, when he gave Hunter Biden blanket immunity, Hunter Biden, I don't know who advises that man, but they need someone else, because what he essentially did was, now Hunter Biden can't plead the fifth, and he has to testify.
He has to be
Joe Biden.
compelled to tell what he knows. So, and honestly, I think that there's a lot more of a plan behind the scenes than what is being admitted to. So it's probably part of the plan. And for all those people who says there's no plan, guess what? There is a plan. There's always a plan. There's no coincidences out there for anything. So,
And I would like to say this too, Donna, that a man that can figure out that he wants to put a blanket immunity on all the things surrounding him and his past, I'd say he's got a great memory.
Well, I don't think it's him at all. I don't think it's him.
Well, thinking is not our job. Facts are our job.
Well, I would bet my last dollar that Joe Biden
Don't do it.
Not making the decisions for the United States.
Don't do it. I'm telling you, don't do it.
Here's my dollar. Here's my last dollar.
Is that the only dollar you have? Is that the last dollar or the first dollar?
All right, guys. Well, let's move on to our day here. I'll give everybody like 30 seconds of last words, and then we're going to go ahead and say a prayer, or I can just say a prayer. What do you think?
It's up to you. I don't have any last words.
That's a lot of 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's like 4 minutes into the deal. Say the prayer.
It's going to be like a mixed group of the View happening here.
That's okay. I take this group over anybody on the View any day. When Sonny had to make that public apology to Matt Gaetz, that was pure gold.
Maybe BNN Network should challenge the View.
There we go.
Maybe we should replace the View.
Yeah, we should have a debate with them. Say, we'll debate the people on the View and see how well you fare. Probably not too well, but
they wouldn't do it.
They wouldn't
we
do
would
it.
Make them all look dumb.
Well, and then when they deny it, we can even make them look even more dumb and discredit them. So
yeah. Either way, we win.
We can play the View and then pause it every once in a while and do a live stream. I did that with the debate with Tudor Dixon, and, the globalist candidate put up by the Republican Party, who is despicable, and as well as with Whitmer, who is equally as despicable and put up by the Uniparty, both of them. And so I never watched the debates. I didn't get the questions, and I actually did. I answered the questions first, which is you always want to be second in a debate. So you listen to the answers. No, I didn't listen to the answers. I did the response first, and without their little coaching moments, and I couldn't believe how stupid their answers were. Both of them are stupid. So
that was my suggestion, so that we would see what you would have a chance to participate in the debate in a sense.
Yeah.
By answering the questions, and then you listened to their answers, and then you responded to their answers. It was a great show.
Their answers were like, I'm sitting here like this going,
is this real life?
That's not an answer. Okay. That's a distraction. That's two little girls that are having a cat fight. That's all that was. And so it was pathetic.
Deflection.
It was embarrassing. It should have been embarrassing to them. And anything coming out of their mouths is still going to be embarrassing, because you got Globalist 1 and Globalist 2 sitting there. So,
well, they're not embarrassed. They get paid the big money.
Yeah.
They'll do anything. There's no shame for that money.
Oh, no. They get paid to be dumb.
Oh, yeah. Here is
they get paid. I don't think they get paid to be dumb. I think that's a natural effect.
Here was the debate. It's 2 hours and 21 minutes. So I went through it and never listened to anything.
Well,
now it's going to be 2 hours and
20 minutes for it loads.
Opinions on things or give an answer. And I may go over their time limit, because quite honestly, I'll give you a quick answer, but most of the answers that I believe that they give and most of the questions are fairly simplified on very complex subjects. And honestly, I don't really think that they want to solve anything. So that is my opinion.
Dead range, plumbing emergencies are never convenient, but calling Mountaineer is. You voiced your concerns.
My name is Brian Spencer, and I live in Flint. And my greatest concern is the people.
Speaking up about the issues that matter to you.
Mostly concerned with rising gas prices, food prices, and just price of living.
What are they going to do about inflation?
The ones that will guide your vote this November.
My major concern is the abortion laws here in Michigan.
For the next hour, Governor Gretchen Whitmer and Challenger Tudor Dixon address your concerns and answer your questions in their first ever televised debate. Live in the Wood TV8 studio, it's the debate for governor. Here's Rick Alvin.
And that's how it went, guys. So you can go to our Odyssey channel and or any of the other channels for that matter and see actually an actual debate the way that it should have happened. But that's okay. I digress. I won. I say I won. So therefore it is.
And all the Fox News stations, the news station that we called, and they said, well, we're kicking that idea of letting Donna Brandenburg be on. That's I can't really answer you. That's kicked up to corporate. So they're talking about that right now. And they never let you on.
No, they didn't. And then word got back to me that it was Tudor Dixon that said she was the one that said I won't debate if she comes on.
Wow.
Howard.
So that tells you everything you need to know. We've got child 1, you've got thing 1 and thing 2. Let me go back here to thing 1 and thing 2. You've got, let's see. I'll make it come back just a little bit.
Well, I didn't know that I mean, that would be like saying, well, Joe Biden doesn't want to debate Donald Trump because he just doesn't want him to debate him, but he will debate Mitt Romney. I mean, that's ridiculous because you're running for a position. I think it was Fox News. I think it was more of the ones that were trying to place her were the ones making that decision.
It's hard to tell. Thing 1 and thing 2, though, they're the same. 2 wings, the same bird. Anyhow, let's go ahead and I got to see what else did you guys get? I love this. We've got rapid fire posting.
I sent you that meme. Did you get it?
I did not. If it's not in the private chat when I'm online like this, I usually can't make it work. Just so you know.
I sent it to your text. I'll post it.
Did you see Melissa's meme?
If it's on the private chat, I can get it to work. Otherwise, it takes me a while to go around the systems here. So, but anyhow.
Melissa made a meme that said it was confirmed that these were Iranian drones. They had a bomb in one hand and one of those things called around their heads.
Yeah.
I lost it when I seen this meme. I couldn't understand what she was laughing at, and then she sent it to me. I'll send it to you guys, but it is hilarious.
What, a cap with a propeller on it?
Yeah. It was a little drone with a little thing on and a beard and a bomb and some stick, and I was like.
Okay, let me put Karen's meme in here. Karen's a meme maker. So yeah, there it is. Perfect. This is what we have, boys.
Those were the good old days.
Hey, Chris.
That was the good old days.
Text a text message.
Karen's making memes like there's no tomorrow. She's like chunking these things out like you can't believe. There you go. Thing 1.
I did a lot. I did a lot during the election time. That's for sure.
You got to do a lot of photoshopping to make those two look intelligent. That's all I got to say.
I did some that I did not share too. It was just a little too much.
Yeah, Karen was having a great time, but we got thing 1 and thing 2 that are still sticking their little airheaded heads up. Oh, well, let's see what happens. Anyhow, I'd love to debate them. That would be such a chip shot. So I digress. Anyhow, well,
let's go with the prayer.
Let's go with the prayer there. You know, I will be a good girl. Bad Donna, bad Donna. Okay. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this day that you have given us, and we're so thankful that you've given us such wonderful friends, like everyone that's on here right now, and we are just amazed that at how you bring us together, and then give us a purpose, give us things to do that we work on together, and bringing the truth, I think, is pretty important, especially any type of truth that lets everyone know kind of what's going on. And we hate deception. We hate deception. We hate manipulation. We want things to be right here on this world in the way that you want things done. Whatever it is that you want us to do, we will do what you ask us to do, because we trust you, we love you, and we want to honor you with every single thing we do. Thank you so much for guiding us, for leading us, for providing for us, for healing us, for giving us joy and peace, and that we can grab onto that joy and peace every single day. It's choice. And today, this day, we choose to follow you in whatever you ask, wherever you ask us to go, and whatever you ask us to do. Thank you so much for being a wonderful friend to us. Please bless everyone, give them your favor. Let them know that you love them very, very much, and that you're walking with them, that there is no despair. There's no things that we need to worry about or be fearful of, because you are, in fact, with us here every day, all the time. We're never alone. In Jesus Christ's precious name we pray. Amen. All right, boys and girls, this is where we go to that part of the show. Ding, ding, ding. Go to BrandenburgForGovernor.com, because I'm the best non-conceder who's ever not conceded in the history of the United States of America. And I want to talk to the rightful president of the United States, President Donald J. Trump, about this. Wearing cowboy boots.
What'd you say?
Wearing cowboy boots.
So there you go. We'll see who wears it better. Me. I'll tell you that right now. So, but I'd like to see if that is in fact the case. And we want to prove this out. So President Donald Trump, the rightful president of the United States, I want to have a discussion with you. Okay. We need to make that happen. And without all the hacks around you that are trying to make money off of it, telling me I got to pay $150,000 to have a meeting with them. Oh yeah. I asked for a meeting, and everybody's like, well, you can do that, but you got to pay $150,000 to make that happen.
I'm like, right here.
My guess is that isn't coming from President Trump, because he seems to welcome everybody in. So whoever it is that's around him, they're making statements like that, pay to play on his name. Man, I'm going to tell you what, President Trump, I think you need to have some the proverbial heads roll over that one, and they should be on that first flight to Gitmo right behind Milley and Mayorkas on the plane. So at any rate, I say what I say. I say what I said. So, just so everybody knows, we're all friends here. We know each other very well, and it's an honor to know everyone here, to stand with the people that are here, because of just the amazingness of each one of them, the unwavering commitment to the United States of America, and to do the right thing in every situation. It's amazing when you have the opportunity to actually know people like that. And that's exactly what we have here. I want to let everybody know that next week on Brandenburg News Network, we're going to have Jevem and the whistleblowers on the Ammon Hillman cult. Again, they're going to be on Monday. They're supposed to be on today, but they had some technical difficulties. Allie did. So they'll be on Monday, as well as every one of these fine people that are here may join under the citizen journalist segment after Vicki Davis at 9:00. And then we also have on Wednesday, Chadwick Moore. I know him, great guy. He's the biographer for Tucker Carlson, and he's going to be on Wednesday after Liberty Ascent.
Tuesday.
And
Donna.
what's that?
Tuesday is General Flynn.
I was getting there.
Oh, I'm sorry. You skipped over it. I'm like, Monday, Wednesday. What are we doing?
Yeah, hold on here a minute. And then Thursday, I'm going to be having Sean Starry back on again for 2 hours, because we just had an amazing interview. I love this guy. He is totally amazing, talking about tunnels and what he's seen in the tunnels. And when I listen to people, and I can spot bullshit pretty fast. His level of detail he puts into everything is, I truly think that he's telling us what he actually saw. I really do. And it's pretty interesting. He's a very interesting guy, and we need to consider all things, whether you're predisposed to believe something or not. We let everybody talk. And then Tuesday, my friend, my buddy, the greatest patriot in the history of the United States of America, and I'll give him that honor. It's my friend, General Michael Flynn. He's going to be on Tuesday at 10 o'clock, which will be really fun. I always like talking to him. And I don't care who you are and how smart y'all think you are, and that goes across the world. This guy's in the room. He's the smartest guy in the room, hands down, every time. Okay?
He is.
And so he is brilliant. He knows how to make a plan, create a plan, stick to the plan, and duck in the bad guys.
Down to earth.
Bob and weave.
Yeah, Bob and weave, General Flynn. Bob and weave. Yeah, he's totally amazing. And quite honestly, General Flynn and Admiral Rogers, we owe a debt to those two that will never be able to be repaid. If you don't know what they did, it's not too hard to figure it out. Just go look. But it is my opinion, and I've never had the discussion, and nor would I ask him any questions ever that would violate or put him in jeopardy. But it is my opinion, the whole stuff started. I think he kind of set the whole thing up. He's smart enough to have set up getting caught and go through what? How do you think that happened? I don't know, but I'm going to tell you right now, smartest guy in the room. The people that question him or that try to impugn his honor and that sort of thing, those are the dumbest guys in the room, guaranteed. Don't listen to them. They're trying to lead you astray and attack somebody because they're probably on the other side. It's a pretty easy judgment call for me to make to see some of these. I won't use my favorite word. Chris knows what it is, but they are definitely, I'm going to say it, they're in the fuckwit category. Okay. That's what they are. They're idiots. So with that said, everybody have a wonderful weekend. Remember, if you don't have a good example, be one. It starts with being mentally tough. Keep your heart in the right place, realizing that most people are just trying to make it through life and they're trying to do their best. They're just as lost as everyone else is right now. And there's a difference between intentional bad guy stuff and people just being human. Yesterday was an interesting day for me. I had two people screaming at me, which never goes really well at the end game of all things. But my point being is that be nice to each other and don't let the demons infiltrate you and turn you into a rage monster, because that's not okay. And it's not okay to go out there and specifically be abusive to people just to get your pound of flesh out of them. So it's, I think the smartest thing we can do is just stop the words, listen to somebody who has literally been demon possessed and or under the influence, and start praying in earnest, because we're going to have to approach things differently going forward with the world in the state that it's in. So God bless you all. God bless all those whom you love, and God bless America. Make it a great day. It's a choice. I choose. You choose. I choose.
I choose.
And we'll see you Monday.
See ya.